Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start our video with the story of how two soldiers just following orders made themselves a mini vacation. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Orders are orders. This happened in 2015 when I was in basic combat training with the U.S. Army at Fort Benning, Georgia. Bit of a backstory on me. I joined when I was 22, and those 4 years of experience working and providing for myself may not be much, but it was enough to set me apart from most of the other soldiers who were almost all fresh out of high school. I was also in peak physical shape and an a-hole, so the drill sergeant seemed to like me from the start. In BCT, everyone goes by the buddy system. And the soldier I was paired up with was dying or something, so he had to go to sick hall. So like 5 a.m. we get shuttled to sick hall after they tell the guy he isn't dying and we're dismissed. The procedure from here is to call Battalion CQ to let them know you need pickup, and they'll forward the message on to your company and a drill sergeant will come get you. So we do. They order us over the phone to remain there and wait. So we do. And nothing happens. Battalion's less than a mile away, but we have orders, and frankly, I'm loving the break from push-ups and low crawling. Hours pass. We call periodically, and each time we receive the same instructions. Finally, the sick hall clinic is closing, so I make one last call, inform them we will no longer be able to call as the clinic is closing, and I'm told again to wait there to be retrieved by a drill sergeant. It gets dark. We've now been waiting and relaxing for over 12 hours. If you haven't been to BCT, let me tell you, this is a vacation. Also, there really wasn't anything else we could do. If we decided to just leave and anything happened to us on the way back, we'd be so dead. No point to take that risk. When the drill sergeant finally showed up late at night, we snapped a parade rest while we waited for his reaction. Drill sergeant, what time is it, private? Me, 22:45, drill sergeant. Drill sergeant nods slowly, gets right in my face, voice threatening. And how long have you been here, private? Me, 17 hours, drill sergeant. Drill sergeant, veins now bulging in his temple, and he's turning a beautiful shade of red. And what the F have you been doing this whole time, private? Me, hiding a crap-eating grin. Absolutely nothing, drill sergeant. The private next to me visibly wilted, and the drill sergeant, well, he exploded. This was a 250-pound, very angry, and very loud human who I found out much later has actually strangled people to death in combat. He went on for a bit about how no one knew where we were and threatening us with everything from anal hemorrhaging to death by overexposure to cleaning agents after all the cleaning we were going to do. At some point, while we were pushing, he paused long enough to ask some question that I can't remember, but I slipped in my reply something about how our unwavering commitment to following orders. This actually made him pause for a second, and even though my face was in the dirt, it was like I could see gears turning. Remember, this drill sergeant and I have a pretty good relationship. He asked a few more questions, and soon the whole story came out. We kept pushing, and he kept yelling. But now he was actually praising us for following orders. It's pretty amazing how he could be just as angry and intimidating while threatening us with mortal danger as he was while praising us. After a bit of that, he took us back, and they allowed people to walk back from sick hall after that. And our second story. You're putting down too much salt on the walkways. Okay, I'll cut back. I work for an upscale hotel as a public attendant. One of my janitorial duties at this facade of an establishment is keeping walkways cleared and safe. We were experiencing freezing rain one night, so I ended up putting down about 350 pounds of sidewalk melt over an 8-hour time frame, which is a ridiculous amount for the length of walkways we have. They were still a Swiss cheese ice sheet, but were passable. When the facility manager came in the next day, he went ballistic on how much money we were spending on salt. The FM told the morning PA to cut back, which was relayed to me, so we cut back. I did a minimum amount of salt on the walkway at the start of my shift, which can be dangerous on the exterior tile to the front entrance, also dangerous on the delivery stairs entrance, which most employees use, but I follow orders. When I went to the front desk, I had a note from HR to salt specific areas on the hour, every hour. Contradictory, but I'll follow these orders as well. A few hours into the shift, I hear HR slipped and nearly fell at the front entrance while leaving. HR wanted to know why I wasn't salting. I was, just less than the day before. It was relayed that the FM had told us to cut back, HR said to disregard what the FM said, and if FM had a problem with it, to talk with HR. Apparently, 2 employees slipped and fell that morning. One of them is pregnant. I now put down as much salt as I feel necessary, and I enjoy that it bothers the FM. Small victories. And our next story. Come dancing takes on a whole new meaning. Very early in my career, I got a job working as a sound and lighting tech at a big music and dance venue in West London. It was a pretty decent job. Wednesday through Saturday, we had various themed nights, and most weeks we had various well-known bands coming in on the Monday and or Tuesday, bands like UB40, The Jam, The Stranglers, The Thompson Twins, Killing Joke, and many others. The venue had for many years a reputation for ballroom dancing. It had the largest sprung maple dance floor in the UK, and the BBC frequently came in to record episodes of Come Dancing, a popular TV show in the 70s and 80s. You could get around 2,500 people in the venue when we had concerts. The tables around the periphery of the dance floor were removed so we could fill the venue to capacity. Running around all 4 sides of the rectangle arena was a balcony, which had 2 bars, the sound and lighting control room, and, importantly, 6 dressing rooms directly above the stage area that was along one of the long arms of the rectangle. Bear in mind that, for what should be obvious reasons, this area was out of bounds to the punters. One of the more interesting regular nights was Wednesday's Over 25 night, an evening that catered to the, shall we say, older fraternity, those who had cut their teeth socially in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and for whom the venue held a certain degree of nostalgia. You would think that these older patrons would know how to conduct themselves. Not a bit of it. There would frequently be punters going handbags at 20 paces with each other to the endless frustration of the bouncers, and on at least 2 occasions I witnessed a couple of old boys who were well into their 60s waving flick knives at each other. There were also quite a few ladies attending who, how can one put this delicately, were less enamored of the Terpsichorean arts, per se, than they were of taking the concept of dancing being the vertical expression of horizontal intent and applying it to a means of gaining a quid pro quo financially. This practice was something of an open secret among the staff, and looking back on the situation, I'm almost certain there was some kind of financial kickback with the senior management who always looked the other way. And so it came to pass, gentle reader, that I'm up in the control room one afternoon when the chief electrician pops his head around the door and asked me if I'd been into dressing room 6 recently. Other than checking to see if the bulbs were working, a matter of a few seconds, I said no. He then beckoned me to follow him. Intrigued, I trotted after him and went into dressing room 6 to be confronted by a rather odd sight. There was a rather large hole in the brickwork on the wall that faced into dressing room 5. Going into dressing room 5, I noticed a large mirror covering said hole. Further examination showed that this was, in fact, a one-way mirror. It took but a moment to make a theoretical connection to the activities of the Wednesday nights. That evening, I approached a couple of my colleagues in the upper bar and asked them to keep an eye on the stage right entrance to the dressing rooms. Sure enough, they reported seeing couples sneaking into the area, followed shortly thereafter by certain members of senior management. Over the next couple of weeks, I conspired to find myself in the dressing room area, ostensibly to use the access ladder to the roof area to go and turn on the extractor fans. Sure enough, the sounds emanating from the 2 dressing rooms left little to the imagination. Put bluntly, the local tarts were pulling clients and taking them up to dressing room 5, while the senior management crowded into number 6 and got their jollies via the one-way mirror. As you might imagine, this intelligence spread rapidly, but covertly throughout the entire lower-end staff. In particular, many of the bar staff were females, and they were justifiably outraged at such heinous behavior. We would almost always get together after work on a Saturday to socialize at someone's house, and on one particular Saturday, we held a council of war. On the following Tuesday, we knew that there was going to be a major gig at the venue, which was pretty much already sold out. Someone then had the bright idea of going on strike. That's right, folks, the entire bar staff and tech crew decided en masse that we would simply not turn up on Tuesday evening. This amounted to a little over 20 people. We knew that they'd normally take money hand over fist at the bars. With no staff to serve the thirsty punters, the venue would therefore be losing some serious coin. Come the aforesaid Tuesday evening, not a single member of the staff showed up. On Wednesday, everyone rocks up to the work to be confronted by furious management. Boy, were they pissed. We learned that it had been absolute chaos, with the management and a few of the bouncers having to roll up their sleeves and serve behind the bars. Even with this, there was nowhere near enough staff to serve 2,500 people. They lost a fortune in bar sales. We were all then threatened with termination, a somewhat hollow threat, as if we'd all been booted out there and then, there'd be no one to serve and no one to work that evening. It was then that we played our trump card. A few days earlier, I'd taken the precaution of taking some photos of the offending mirror installation, which is also neatly demonstrating the one-way nature of the setup. We gave them an ultimatum: either remove the mirror and block up the whole, or the whole set of photos would be sent to head office, where we felt sure the top brass would be very interested in the shenanigans perpetrated by senior management in one of their major venues. We also felt sure that the local police station, literally next door, would express a similar interest in the going-ons. You could almost hear the air leaking out as the management bods visibly deflated right in front of our eyes. In short, our demands were met without question, and no one got the sack. A few days later, we found out the head honcho had moved on to pastures new, and new manager had taken over. Final score: venue staff 4, management 0. Hey guys, thank you for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.